Welcome back to VHS Talkers, everybody, for our first review of 2023. Took us long enough to get here, but that's because January was filled with shit. So, Here we are with M. Night Shyamalan's Knock at the Cabin, apparently based on a book. Never read it. I don't believe I've ever heard of the author, but if it's a Shyamalan movie, 9 out of 10 times I'll be there. Personally, Shyamalan's been on a bit of an uptick for me ever since he came back with Split. I really like his movies.
Actually, The Visit? Was The Visit before
It was The Visit. Let me backtrack.
So good.
With The Visit. You know, granted, I know his movies aren't for everybody, and at this point, we don't need to beat it over the head. You either like his movies or you don't, or there's a combination in between. I'm the in between. A lot of his stuff I hate, a lot of his stuff I love. Knock at the Cabin is one that I really enjoy.
And I did not.
You kind of get an idea and a feeling of what you're in for when the movie starts, because you get the Universal logo, but it's not the updated one. It's not any kind of stylized one or anything like that.
Old school.
It's the old school. It's the original Universal logo that we had back in like the 80s and 90s, and this is the kind of thriller that we have here. It's almost kind of by the books, but you know the plot. It's predictable. You know it as it goes, but it's the acting and it's the character moments, at least for me personally.
What?
It's the parts that are better than the sum of the parts, personally, for me. Okay. Better than the whole. So, acting-wise, right out of the gate, you get the big lumbering house himself, Dave Bautista, front and center.
Big.
He's a big dude. There's a part in the movie where he breaks a window and, they're like, oh, he climbed out of it. And I'm like, oh, no, come on. He's too big.
The window's like that big.
But then when you look at the window, you see where, they were smart enough to be like, well, he is a big dude, so we're going to kind of chip away at some of the extra parts, I guess. I was like, okay, well, that's clever because, he's a big dude. He didn't obviously climb through it because, he does good here, honestly. He hasn't had much to do. He's got a couple dramatic moments in Guardians of the Galaxy. He said 2 or 3 words in Dune. I guess he'll show up in the second part with 2 or 3 more words.
Was it Stuber?
I fell asleep during the trailers. I appreciate we got more here. This is more Dave Bautista from Blade Runner 2049. It's a quieter character, still has a physical presence to it, but I appreciate it. He's trying. You got Jonathan Groff, who I always loved. I think he's fantastic. He was one of the dads. It's also the guy from Frozen.
Dad Eric?
Yes, Dad Eric.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they named themselves Dad Eric and Dad Andrew because, according to her, it got too confusing when she would say Dad because they didn't know which one she was referring to. Honestly, I don't remember her name.
Super cute girl. Oh my gosh.
The actress is adorable, and she holds her own.
Probably, I was going to say, she's like the star of the movie, to be honest, compared to everybody else.
And you really got to give her credit, too, because in the beginning, the movie just kicks right off.
It does.
In the beginning, the interaction between her and Bautista, it's just them kind of bouncing back and forth, and she really just stands her ground firmly.
Or maybe Bautista comes to her level.
Maybe he sinks down to the level of a child. So she is very, very good. Jonathan Groff is fantastic. The gentleman that played Andrew, the guy that played Andrew, he's all right. He was a little much in some parts. Ron Weasley from Harry Potter shows up for 7 minutes and then dies. And then we have 2 additional people in there who... this is like a character movie of sorts. It almost kind of reminds me of like the more recent Murder on the Orient Express or Death on the Nile, where it's the characters. Every character has their traits. You have the angry, angsty one. You have the loyal follower. You have the one who's just trying to make sure that her kid survives.
And it all kind of comes full circle at the end.
It does.
The characters that they play.
It does. It's a predictable ending. The whole idea is that the family has to make a decision amongst themselves who is going to die in order to save the world. And I appreciate Shyamalan trying to inject the idea that there's going to be a twist. When you're watching the news, 4 hours ago there was an earthquake, but they said if you don't make a decision now, this massive earthquake is going to hit right now. But it already happened like 4 hours ago. And then, when there's terrible floods and everything like that, these are happening right now. But then you happen to notice that it's a recording that's playing. It's previously aired footage. And so I appreciate that. Dave Bautista keeps checking his watch. So it's like, was this like a pre-planned thing? And then they kind of sink the idea in that maybe this is a bit of a hate crime. And they targeted this family specifically because it is a gay couple with a child. And there is some credence to that when one of the individuals who is taking them hostage happened to attack one of the fathers in a bar years ago. So there's a lot that Shyamalan is like throwing at you, like, hey, look over here, look, you know, a lot of like red herrings. But unfortunately,
it does not land.
When we do get to the ending, it doesn't stick the landing, because the apocalypse, it almost did happen. It truly did, in fact, almost happen. And they do subvert it when, you know, the two dads are arguing, and then one of them ends up dying.
This movie's just too predictable for me. Like, I knew every single thing that was about to happen, and I knew exactly how it was going to end. And it ended exactly how I predicted it in my head. It just wasn't, it was okay. I don't think I would recommend people to, let me not say that. I'm not going to go out of my way to tell people about this movie.
I will say it's not my favorite Shyamalan movie, but at the same time, it is not his worst. We aren't trying to sit here and believe that Mark Wahlberg is a seasoned biology teacher or anything like that. In the realm of his new movies, the Shyamalan-essence is what I'm going to refer to it as. This is at the bottom of the totem pole. The Village, The Visit, Old,
good.
Glass,
Those are good, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Split.
Oh my god,
they're above this. This one sits at the bottom of that. But look, if I'm going to compare this to like The Last Airbender or The Happening or Devil, guys, I will take this any day of the week. There are some very creative shots in here. I do appreciate the use of different angles. You know, there's a lot of moments because, you know, we have the dads and they're kind of tied up to the chair, and the dad on the left will be on the right side of the screen, dead space to the left. Dad on the right will be on the left side of the screen, dead space to the right. And it's very clever with the angles there. There's a neat one shot where we're following a character who's walking around outside of the house. You can't see them for most of it because they're walking behind the walls and everything on the outside, but the camera keeps that geography there. And it's tough when you have a film that takes place in like one location, and I really appreciate, you know, just the lengths that these directors and everything like I go through to like make it interesting. This isn't the worst Shyamalan movie ever made at all. That to this day is Lady in the Water, but it's certainly not his best. That would be Unbreakable.
I would say for my first movie of the year, if this is how the movies are gonna be.
We saw this in Dolby. You know, honestly, Dolby is not the best format for this. The sound and everything, it gets intense towards the end when things start kicking off, but I feel like Old had a better use of the Dolby.
I don't even remember that one.
This is the first movie that kicks off our year. It's an interesting one. I'll give you that. If you guys had a chance to see it, of course, you know, let us know down in the comments below if you have any intention of seeing it or not seeing it. Look, you know, let us know that as well. And until next time, guys, this has been VHS Tacos signing off. To be honest with you, probably not going to review Ant-Man. There are some extenuating circumstances surrounding that. I will drop some thoughts in a community post about it, though. You don't need to worry. And until next time, guys, this has been VHS Tacos signing off for the first time at the movie season.
I'm ready to say it.
I'll let you say it.
Bye!
Adios.